the once adored queen who lost her head in shame. When we think of Tudor England, the fate of a traitor's body, especially the head, was often grim. Executions were public spectacles meant to serve as a warning. After a beheading, it was common for a traitor's head to be placed on a pike and displayed on London Bridge or at Temple Bar to deter disloyalty. Heads were sometimes tarred to delay decay, and their sight and smell were said to be unforgettable. But for Anne Boleyn, the second wife of King Henry VIII, her death and what followed were highly unusual. Accused, almost certainly falsely, of adultery, incest and high treason, her execution on May 19, 1536, at the Tower of London, was a carefully managed affair that continued even after her last breath. Unlike many traitors, Anne was not executed before a huge crowd. Instead, her beheading was carried out in private within the Tower grounds. This reflected her royal status and likely Henry's desire to avoid a public backlash. To ensure a quick, clean death, Henry even imported a skilled swordsman from Calais, sparing her the traditional, often clumsy, axe. Some historians suggest this was Henry's final twisted gift to the woman he once adored. Crucially, Anne Boleyn's head was not placed on a pike or displayed publicly. This again reflected her rank and the desire to quietly erase the embarrassing scandal. Public spiking was reserved for commoners and true enemies of the state, not a former queen. Following her execution, Anne was buried in a makeshift old elm box, an arrow chest, as no proper coffin had been prepared. Her body and severed head were interred in an unmarked grave in the chapel of St. Peter ad Vincula, within the Tower grounds. There was no formal funeral. It was as if to erase her entirely from the royal record. In the 19th century, during chapel renovations under Queen Victoria, bones believed to be Anne's were unearthed, along with those of other Tudor-era women executed there. Based on circumstantial evidence, the remains were reinterred under a marble slab bearing her name. There is no evidence that Anne's head was preserved, tarred, or mummified in any way. Unlike the heads of traitors displayed publicly, there was no need to preserve it since it was buried immediately after the execution. Tudor embalming was a rare practice, typically reserved for royalty receiving a state funeral. Although a former queen, Anne was granted none of the rights of her former title. Her body was treated with efficiency, not ceremony. Anne Boleyn's final resting place tells a story of political convenience, royal image control, and quiet shame. She was once crowned queen in a lavish ceremony, but in death, she was hastily boxed up like contraband, as if to erase her from history altogether.